Hello, I'm the Reverend Godfather, aka the Martinsburg Madman, and I'm not wearing the show's jersey today because it's hot as hell out here where we are, and I don't want to record inside. Welcome to our 9th anniversary special. For those of you on the audio side, a lot of what you're going to hear I might have covered because this is also going to be posted up as a video on YouTube. For those on YouTube, if you're interested in some of our exclusive audio content, please see the links down below to see our audio outlets. We do recommend the Podbean side and the Good Pod side for more, how do I put this? The Good Pod and Podbean makes it easier to interact with the show. If you choose to use Spotify or Apple Podcasts, that is your choice and your prerogative. We're not going to stop you as long as you hit that follow or you hit that rating system or rate us on that platform. Now, like I said, this is our 9th anniversary special, and the best way I could do this, because we have a lot of new subscribers here on YouTube as well as new subscribers and always new listeners on the audio side as well. Best way to do this anniversary episode is probably give you a rundown in regards to some of the things we say on the show, the history, and why we do what we do. And for one thing, because we're outside, I don't know where that beeping's coming from, nor do I care. It's not one of the trains that tends to roll by. The show initially was started, or the idea of it was started not as a show, but it was started 10 years ago. I was reading, back in 2014, my thoughts were to develop a street team called the Longcoat Mafia Podcast. Not so much the Longcoat Mafia Podcast, but the Longcoat Mafia. For those of you who don't know what a street team is, just pretty much an advertising type of ordeal. Again, it was going to be tongue-in-cheek. Probably folks that were well-dressed, wearing, a type of long coat or like a pea coat or something dressed or something similar to what Castiel wears in Supernatural. And going around saying, hey, have you, like, with local bands with like CDs or demo CDs in, hiding in our coats, saying, hey, you need to check out this band, and, handing that CD to somebody. Stuff like that. It wasn't until May 2015 where a friend of mine and co-host of the Long Coat Mafia, Big Candy, pretty much said we should, because we were having a wonderful conversation at that time, we should start recording a podcast again. Because prior to that, we did the Electric Eye Collective. Now, and I thought it was a good idea. I didn't know where to begin. But I will say this. Did Facebook groups teach me how to podcast? No. Did I get tips how to podcast from somewhat professionals or those running platforms like Podbean or Spotify or Libsyn or what have you, or big name podcasters like Kevin Smith or Joe Rogan or Adam Carolla? No. Did I listen to podcasts back then? Yes, I was listening to the biggest name I was listening at the time was, at least for a little while, was one of Kevin Smith's many podcasts at the time. I listened to a few others and kind of fell off, but at the time, Electric Eye was being developed and became defunct. Maybe about a month or two after it became defunct, I started listening to Slacker and the Man, and which are available as lost. Some of their episodes are available as lost media episodes on the audio side, and it looks like some of you are enjoying those when they drop. And I listened to them up until they went defunct in about March 2015. So about a month and a half prior to us, or I say me and Big Candy, thinking about doing a podcast. And again, this was a lot of what I do for the Long Coat Mafia podcast. I've said this on the audio side, Slacker and the Man was my blueprint for a lot of what they did. And before I officially started getting a microphone, getting everything together, I pretty much asked the Man for permission. I felt like I was dating his ex, so to speak. It seemed like I needed to ask his permission. I know it seems weird. I could have just ran with it. I just needed to ask permission. I asked. He was like, "Dude, just go do it, man." And I asked him, "All right, that be the case, what hosting platform did you use, and what recording software did you use?" And he was the one that pointed me to Podbean, and he's the one that pointed me to use Audacity. And I was like, okay. And there have been a number of times in his podcast that he mentioned, like, keep the audio, the intro, the musical intro down to under a minute. The shorter the better. And that's what I've tried to do ever since. And right now I think it's about 12 to 15 seconds long. So I've done that, and like I said, what I knew and what I listened to for a better part of 5 to 7 years was Slacker and the Man. And I looked at what did they accomplish, what did they do over those 7 years. Can I achieve the same milestones as they did, or how much of the milestones can I achieve with my show as they did theirs? They didn't start covering, some of them I beat by a mile, some of them I have yet to achieve. Right now, what did I achieve? Well, on YouTube side, their channel is still sitting at 500 subscribers. Our show here on YouTube, on the YouTube side of things, is only at 139, which fluctuates up and down sometimes. At the low end, it's about 130. They've had several thousand, or if not tens of thousands of subscribers throughout the audio side of things, and they've had concurrently, if I remember correctly, no less, averaged about 3,000 listens a week at one point for their show. We have yet to achieve that, period. I think the most we've ever gotten was 200, 300 listens for an episode. But that's no here, no there. And it's one of those things on the podcasting side of things. It all depends on who you talk to. Some, even folks at Podbean will tell you listens don't matter, and therefore listens matter. Or should I say, you shouldn't be concerned about not getting a couple hundred listens a week. and there are other times that they're saying you should be getting a couple hundred listens a week. So it seems hypocritical. But and I've had a lot of friends tell me, "Oh, don't worry. If you get 5, you get 5. If you get 10, you get 10." But a lot of the other stuff that they did, Slacker and the Man did, we have achieved, and some things that we have the parallels are there. Um, have they teamed up with and made friends with other podcasts during their lifetime? Yes, they have, and so have we here at the Long Coat Mafia podcast. One of the milestones that we've had on the show that they did, or at least with the plan, and I saw that within about the 2 to 3 year mark on their end, they started to cover conventions, both either locally and nationally. It turns out we started covering, or we had our first official convention covered again. When you're starting out, mistakes are made. Did we make mistakes when we started? Yes. Did Slacker and the Man make mistakes when they started? I'm sure of it. Our first convention that we covered, in a way, was four state horrifying. Not horrifying. I think it was not horrifying. It was like Slasher Con or something like that. Four state Slasher Con. Way back in 2015. It's where we got a whole mess of interviews, and it was where we did our first panel. And Slacker and the Man didn't do their first panel until maybe about year 4. I want to say year 4, and we did it within our first year. Yay us! So I was very proud of that and very nervous when that happened. And since then, we've been friends with Four State, and with Matt Burns, who kind of founded Four State Comic Con in a way, Four State Slasher Con. He's the one that got that ball rolling and got us in the door a little bit. Do we have carte blanche at Four State Comic Con when they do their events? Yes and no. We are more than welcome to do our thing, as long as we are polite and we ask permission. And that's been the working relationship we've had with Four State Comic Con. We've had that, when we get panels and we either participate or record panels, we ask first. If they tell us no, we don't record. If they say, hey, sure, do what you need to do, we thank them, we give them all credit and all that. We've hosted a few panels over the past. Happy about that. And we've gotten a whole ton of interviews. We've got a chance to speak to both, I wouldn't say major celebrities, but a whole mess of minor celebrities, whereas I think Slacker and the Man, the biggest person that they might have spoken with was Casper Van Dien, who is best known for his role in Starship Troopers. We've had a couple big name interviews. I wouldn't say big, maybe on the same or similar level as Casper, but in a way, we had or well known or big in their respective roles. But I'm happy with what we got, and we've having that friendship and that connection, and having the behind the scenes and those connections is wonderful. The major where Slacker and the Man had MegaCon, because they were a Florida podcast. We had Otakon. We've covered them for a good many years before we backed away from Otakon. They still send us press releases to this day, but still. Uh, we've tried to do other shows, but we're not that big. We would love to have gotten press passes to um, Awesome Con, but because it's easier to get to, but they have so ridiculous their recommendations to get what they call an influencer pass, which will cover shows like mine. Is, let me put it like this: it would be easier for me to get monetized on YouTube than it would be to get one of their influencer passes. We would have got, if we still went back to Baltimore Comic Con, we probably would have gotten a press pass. But they were much more polite about it, and it's we still have a respect for, or at least I still have a lot of respect for Baltimore Comic Con. I know it sounds a little weird, but the reason why we don't go back to Baltimore Comic Con is mostly burnout. I would go back. I recommend a lot of people to go to Baltimore Comic Con because it's a lot of people said it's a large show, a large con that feels like a medium con, or it's a medium con that feels like a large con. And it's just, need to take a break from Baltimore. And we haven't been back there since like 2019. But I'd go back. If somebody said, "Hey, we're going to Baltimore Comic Con this year. You want to come?" My response would be, "Let me get funds together for a ticket. What day we're going, and let me get the ticket." And that would be the thing. I'll bring the camera. I'll bring the whole aspect. Where else from there? They've had guests on. We've had guests on. So they were a great blueprint for us to help launch this show. They're the ones that, in a way, taught us how to podcast. And if it wasn't for folks like Big Candy and I'll say Matt Burns kind of challenging us to be who we are and trying to grow and improve. And I'll say this, not just Big Candy, Matt Burns, Sasha, the Princess of Darkness, Four State as well. I'll give them props to helping us improve and challenging us, because every time we get a new piece of equipment or what have you, sometimes it was Four State where we honed our tactics. We sharpened our teeth in regards to what to do, how to do it, and could we ramp it up to something like Baltimore Comic Con? Could we ramp it up to a Otakon? And a lot of times, yes, and sometimes, no. So that was learning. It allowed us to learn. So special thanks to everybody in regards to that. And we developed a lot of artistic friends like Dan Noakes, Jason Sue, Nick Davis, Mr. Hunt. The list goes on and on and on. And speaking with these folks and getting a little bit behind the scenes is one of those things that helped us grow, helped us learn. And another thing we learned from, I'll say this, the man has also helped us learn and grow. And one of the things that he kind of showed us without actually showing us was to kind of use YouTube and for our show, where even though he put up maybe a couple of skits and some behind the scenes stuff and some of the challenges that he did on his show that he recorded and put on YouTube, it's where the technology may have been tougher for him to do back then. It's easier now with smartphones and what we now have. So special thanks to them. And what else? What we're doing now. Yes, we are. Again, we are 9 years in. We still kind of quasi. We've had a good year so far. We For those of you wondering why we're not putting out more content with Sasha, the Princess of Darkness, are we still in good terms with Sasha, the Princess of Darkness? Yes, we are. Just that she has a lot of business to take care of right now. Still, she's been, the water. I'll say this is, though, back in March, April, when a lot of the waters for her were a little bit, in her personal life, were a little bit rocky. Only she could go into that stuff. They are still rocky, but not as rocky as they were. They're getting better for her. So once things probably calm down, there's that chance that she'll be back on the show and we can get things rolling again. Hopefully rolling again. I would have to speak to her about that. And speaking of that, when we started the show, we started with one mic. We still use that U37 mic for when I record by myself. We had that one mic and 3 hosts. That being myself, Big Candy, and Zombie Bunny. Zombie Bunny left after maybe a year or so on the show due to her own reasons. We did invite, when we did go to events like 4-State, we did have booths when she was still a part of the show. We did invite her. Hey, this was happening. You're more than welcome to come into the show. There have been many times that I would have definitely paid for any tickets she might have needed to get to be a part of the show. Her ticket, family ticket, I would have been more than happy to for those days. But we never got any response, but that's here, no there. And later on, we had a bunch of guests, co-hosts. We even had Dobbs on the show many years ago, and he lent us a song that we created our own video for it. It's on our YouTube channel. It's called Minimum Effort. We might do an update for that at some point. What else? They had Soccer Man at one point had sponsors. It was the typical Audible sponsors. We don't have any sponsorship from Audible. We're not that big. We do have sponsorships from both W Energy and Swift Energy. Links to them would be, I'll have to put now in the description, Swift Energy. I'm reluctant to kind of put Swift Energy's link in the description because I haven't tried their product yet. I do have an order coming in from them that will, as of this recording, they'll be in on Thursday. And when I get it in, I'll open it up, I'll give it a shot, and I'll let y'all know how it tastes, if it's worth the money, if it's worth your dollar. It's the sponsorship with W and Swift. It is in a way commission based, meaning when you put in that little code, a portion of that sale does come from us. We haven't anybody touched the code or used the code yet, so if you're more than willing to do it, all the instructions are in the description. So that being that, we had fun over the years, and we still go to 4-State. We still do our thing. Will we be doing 4-State Harrisburg this year? I don't know. I honestly don't know. When that train comes a little bit closer, I'll have to stop this and restart it. I'll have to speak to Sasha and see if Al, or her partner, is willing to come down and pick me up for 4-State Harrisburg and have us a good time, and the whole hoot nanny. We'll have to see. And hopefully, if that happens, I'll have recording equipment with us, and maybe we could commandeer an empty table and do a podcast together and get caught up in regards to Ghostbusters Afterlife and what else? The Deadpool movie that's coming out, and good chance, Borderlands will be coming out by the time 4-State Harrisburg comes out, and maybe we could all go see the Borderlands movie, and we can do a reaction or talk about it after while it's fresh in our mind. So that's kind of future plans. What can I say? Is the Long Coat Mafia podcast going away anytime soon? No, it's not. As far as I can tell, we would be doing at best, something similar to what Geek World Order is doing or did with its cartoon podcast that they did. It's there, but it's on kind of a permanent hiatus. And if you wanted, you could also always download their episodes. And one of these days, I am going to get a jump drive and back up all our episodes that we've done over the past on that jump drive that we've put up on Podbean. All our original stuff, not the repostings or anything like that, just the original stuff. On that jump drive will be all our episodes, all the Slacker and the Man episodes, all the Culvert Cast episodes, all the Electric Eye episodes, and all of Geek World Order's cartoon podcast that they did on there. That way, if they shut our doors, there's a backup for it. And if by chance we go away, and maybe a year or two later we decide to come back, we have those backups. We have a huge back catalog to share with you guys as a lost media aspect, and we could have weeks upon weeks of lost media content and everything else for all of you. But so we're not going away anytime soon. As long as we have the $10 for Podbean and YouTube is free, we have a way of being creative and putting out content for all of you. Did we have drama over the years? Yes, we had. We had loads of drama. We still have drama. We can't avoid it. Like our predecessors behind us, they've had drama. We love it. We're opened up to it. We're not going away. We will continue as soon as we get Zoom back. We will get. We'll try to get the man on one of these days. I was going to contact him to have him on at least for this podcast, but I am friends with him on Facebook, but he's been posting up that he's on vacation right now, and I do not want to bug the man while he's on vacation. That's first and foremost. When also we will try to get David Kerr back on. He should come back on in regards to so we can have him talk about his Slasher Nurse reboot and the sequel to Bloody Summer Camp. Hopefully we can get him back on to talk about those things. Do we have plans? Yes, we do. We have lots of plans in the fire. We've made a lot. Heck, if I had my own vehicle, I'd probably be doing and able to get down there. I'd be doing the Bigfoot conference every year with our friends that do that, and I know his name, but it kind of escapes me right now. But I'm happy about that. Um, like I said, we're not going away. We're going to do what we're doing. And what more can I say? Oh yeah, let me just tell you this. You hear a lot in our audio. I do it in the videos as well every now and again. It's the whole aspect. Heck, I did it in the start of the video portion of this episode, and that's, you know, at the end of the audio stuff, I go, hey, I'm the Reverend Godfather, aka the Martinsburg Madman, and you hear that clip of, I'm a gamer, I'm wearing a bikini. And, or in some cases, you hear me, when it's actually me, I'm saying, I'm the Reverend Godfather, aka the Martinsburg Madman, and I'm wearing a jersey. The origins of that, before we go, the origins of that came from our first, I think it was our first episode of this podcast with Zombie Bunny. We were talking about Twitch streamers. We were talking about how the aspect of, in her words, it was, she was being facetious. She was being a little bit sarcastic. How it seemed like some of the women on Twitch were not really gamers. They were just women in bikinis. Therefore, it's like, oh, look at me. I'm a gamer. I'm wearing a bikini. And that's where our show's tagline came in, or at least one of them came in. We use for geeks, by geeks, where every geek or where all geeks are considered family. I like that one because it holds true to the tongue-in-cheekness in regards to of Long Coat Mafia podcast, or the Long Coat Mafia, where all geeks are family, and or should I say, if all or I could update it to, if all geeks are family, considered family, then we should consider all geeks family. And the sad thing is, let me put it like that, as history. I forgot all about that. I wanted to meet, because a lot of folks that have come out and said, I didn't want to be caught in a box. I know, show ADHD. I didn't want to be put in a box, meaning you always see these geek podcasts saying, oh, it's the Movie Geeks podcast. It's this, that, the other. I wanted it, if you were a geek about mugs, I wanted to talk to you. If it was a half hour, 45 minutes to an hour worth of content. If you're a geek about technology, I wanted to talk to you about, what your geek was. I didn't want to be boxed into that aspect. Nor did I, and what a lot of folks think when they hear geek is mostly comic books, movies, whether it be Star Trek, Star Wars, Disney, the whatnot. I did not want to be put in that box. I wanted the Long Coat Mafia. I wanted something that people were forced to sit down and listen to because of the name. And people, the thing is, the sad part is, too many people read, as a lot of folks do, read headlines, and they don't want to watch videos. They don't want to listen to anything that is said. They just want to take a headline and run with it. That's why we try to tell everybody we're the internet's most hated mafia-themed geek podcast. And that's why we tell folks that not only that, we treat all geeks like family. Everybody's family. Because there's a lot of gatekeeping, there's a lot of hate. And what we try to do is like, well, we get a lot of hate saying, oh, you got to explain about why that. No. What if somebody comes in that does not know about Star Wars? What if somebody comes in and doesn't know jack diddly about Dungeons and Dragons? We want to be there to be able to explain to them. So that's what we try to do. We want to be inclusive. There are times we're not exclusive. Are there times we gatekeep? Yes. There are times that we don't want to gatekeep. We want you in. We want your voice to be heard. There are people that I'd be willing to have on because they're controversial. There are people that I wanted to have on to tell their side, to show how they were right and I was wrong. They didn't want to. And because of, I think some of the reasons was, I shouldn't have to prove myself to you. And my response to them was, you are making allegations. You're coming to me with these allegations. And when I ask you for proof, or have you on to tell me these allegations and explain why, you don't want to. And you're telling me I'm the wrong one in on this. So there's that. So again, will I have somebody on that's controversial? Yes. And will I get flack for it? Yeah. I'd be more than happy to have somebody bigger than I am. Do I punch up? Yes. I try not to punch down when I can, but I'm sure I have. But either way, back to I'm a gamer. I'm wearing a bikini. That's become a staple of our show. At least in the audio side. I'll probably close it out with the audio side on this. Because of that, there's the train. It is 6:30. That is the MARC train. That's about as loud as you're going to get that train, is that horn. But we'll say this. As some of you might know, or if you don't know and you are watching this movie, we do have a tip jar. Some of the bigger podcasters, aka and Podbean as well, have stated, I'm going to pause it until they get done. Okay, with that out of the way, as I was saying, our tip jar. We use GoFundMe as a tip jar. A lot of the big time podcasters out there, and even Podbean themselves and iTunes maybe, but a lot of the big time podcasters are those that try to help the smaller guys like myself, or smaller podcasters, creators, or the smaller YouTubers, and so forth and so on. Hey, if you want to have a tip jar, use like a PayPal link, or or a Cash App type of ordeal. I don't like that type of openness, that or going to a place like Truist or a Wells Fargo, opening up a separate bank account and just for a Podbean, for a PayPal or a GoFundMe, and I'm paying an additional $11, $10, $11, $15 a month on something that is nothing's going into. And and not to mention, GoFundMe is pretty much a free platform. Like, we do have a Patreon, and it's there. And one of the things that we have for our tip jar, our GoFundMe tip jar, we set the bar low as a goal, because you need that goal limit for GoFundMe is $1,000. If you want to tip if you are out there and you want to tip $1, or whatever the lowest limit is for GoFundMe, that's up to you. I'm not going to push it. I know there's a lot of Twitch streamers, YouTubers, and the whole thing say, you have to donate, X, Y, and Z. How can you be a broke such and such if you don't? You're a broke such and such if you don't, tip. you have to tip me and so forth and so on. How dare you consume our content for free without tipping me? I don't care if you want to. Our content is out there for you to enjoy, to listen to. If at best, we ask you to, on the audio side of things, to hit that follow thing so new episodes are delivered to you on a weekly basis. To follow us on social media if you so want, and to kind of share things out to the masses, because all that is free and it's able to kind of help spread the word. And but if you want to, and it's the aspect of if you want to, like the W stuff, like the Swift stuff, it's all there if you want to. If you do not have to, if you don't want to, and it's there. And like I said, that $1,000 goal is at what I had. It's me and Sasha have talked about this a couple of times when she's on the show. What would you do if somebody just dropped $1,000 in the GoFundMe? I'd say next episode, guess what? I'm wearing a bikini. Literally, I will go out. I'd probably message Sasha and give her the screenshot and tell her I'm going to need some help. We hit our goal. I guess I have to actually go with what I promised the viewers and the listeners. I'm going to have to wear a bikini for at least a little bit, at least one episode, at least for TikTok or a YouTube thing. I've had a band, someone who has a local punk band. He told me, he's like, what would you? And I was thinking about it. If he gave me a shirt for his band, I would come on a YouTube. Next YouTube I did, I'll have that shirt underneath, and at the end of the thing, I'd be, hey, I'm the Reverend Godfather, aka the Martinsburg Madman, and I'll pull off the jersey and say I'm wearing a such and such band T-shirt, meaning that they would get a shout out on the video. And they're like, well, what if you got, let's say, $5,000? Oh, I'm getting a tattoo. I'm getting a tattoo. And I'll do it. I'll wear a bikini to the tattoo place. If it's 10 grand, I'll get a tramp stamp. But if that goal would have to be reached. We want to make it fun for you, the listener, the viewer, and everything else. We have come a long way, and as stated multiple times, we continue to, as long as we are able to give you more content when we can, we are able to. That's why I will continue to pay the $10 in regards to everything. Because if I'm able to get an interview with a local writer, a local band, another local, let's say we have somebody who is very more outspoken and more hated than I am on the internet, so to speak, I'll have them on and I will speak to them due to the fact that and try to be a neutral platform. Because that is my job as a content creator, to bring all of you content politely out there. So that being said, hopefully I could see all of you next Monday for our Lost Media episode on the audio side. You can find all that on the usual suspects, Apple Podcasts, our Podbean site, which is thelongcoatmafia.podbean.com. Good Pods, Spotify, the whole 9 yards. Links to those outlets are down below. All our social media is also down below. If you're watching this on YouTube, I hope you hit that subscribe button and hit the like button if you like the videos, because when we do events and cover our events, we tend to get a couple of videos. So you might want to hit that subscribe button. That being said, once again, I am the Reverend Godfather, aka the Martinsburg Madman, front man and main host of the Long Coat Mafia podcast, and I'm wearing a t-shirt today.